Kyle Busch won in Texas, locking him into the Final Four in Homestead. He is the second driver to lock himself into the championship race after Kevin Harvick. Gary Owen is the first driver outside of the cut line and the only driver who can realistically point his way in. Clint Bowyer, Kurt Busch, and Brad Keselowski are all in must-win situations as we head into Phoenix to decide who makes the Final Four.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we decide who will be in the Final Four for both the Truck Series and the Cup Series. For Hailie Deegan in the Truck Series, she's already locked in to the Final Four to compete for a championship, to get our team their first championship possibly in Homestead. We cut straight to her race, and she started P9, so it was a solid start as usual, right towards the back part of the top 10 for her, so nothing out of the usual as Stuart Friesen started on the pole. I believe he actually won in Texas in the last episode, if I remember correctly, but Hailie slowly moved her way forwards at the beginning of this race, but unfortunately as we kind of kept going, she started to have some issues with the handling in the truck, to the point now as we come towards the last few laps of this race, she actually lost the back end of the truck on the exit of the corner, and you see right here, she completely lost control, and it ended up going head-on into the wall and had a ton of damage. She would recover from all the way back from 32nd, obviously restarting in the back. She would come to the last lap and recover to get a top 20 finish in Phoenix ISM Raceway. As she came across the line, it didn't matter, fortunately, since she is locked into the Final Four, so she was able to have a bad race and really not have to worry. But this will set the Final Four now for Homestead. So your Final Four drivers, obviously Hailie Deegan in the Final Four, Johnny Sauter with the victory. I believe he might be in the Final Four as well. And the Final Four for the Truck Series will be Johnny Sauter, Hailie Deegan, John Hunter Nemechek, and Noah Gragson. And without that win in Martinsville, Hailie Deegan would currently be outside of the Final Four. So fortunately, we did pull off the victory, and it certainly played a big role in getting her to a championship opportunity in Homestead. But now it is time to shift focus over towards my Cup race in ISM Raceway. We're coming into this race 4 points behind the cut line. Joey Logano currently the last driver in, and your two drivers locked in to the Final Four are Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, and there's the four drivers going for the championship in Homestead in the Truck Series. But you see, Kyle Busch really would be 2 points out right now, but with the win in Texas, he's locked in. Truex and Logano, the last two in on points, and we're realistically the only driver that could point their way in. So Clint Bowyer, Brad Keselowski, and Kurt Busch all need to win the race if they want a chance at making the Final Four. And we came into Phoenix. Obviously, I struggled here a lot in the spring, so I tried with a new setup, and it would work very well. We made it to the final session, and we came out of turns 4 to come across the line, and we would go P1 with a 26.76, and we would qualify on pole to start ISM Raceway. So let's go try to make the Final Four here in Phoenix.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to ISM Raceway today for the Can-Am 500. We've reached the penultimate event of this thrilling season, and there's no better place than ISM Raceway to take in all the exciting action. ISM's multi-million-dollar renovation is complete, and the upgrades are simply amazing. Fans are raving about the new amenities and fan zone experience. There's lots of excitement around the race as well, because after today, the Championship 4 will be set. Who will be headed to Homestead with a shot at the championship? Well, it's time to find out. NASCAR racing is next.
All right, we are ready to get going here in ISM Raceway. We start on the pole. Eric Jones has been struggling all weekend, so let's see if they can turn it around. That's the only news story coming into this event as we start P1 alongside Martin Truex Jr. on the outside front row as we get ready to go to the green flag. Green flag is out. We are underway in ISM Raceway. One more opportunity to try and make the Final Four in our rookie season. If we don't make it, I'm not going to be too disappointed. We've had such a good rookie season that I'm just very fortunate to make it even this far in the playoffs. So if we can make it to the Final Four, that would be amazing, but we're not really looking at disappointment if we don't make it. But as we come through turns 3 into turns 3 and 4, still ahead of Truex and Kyle Busch, I immediately noticed right away that we don't have the speed probably to hold on to the lead, so I cut the dog leg, trying to put a somewhat of a gap between myself and Truex. Now as Kyle Busch looks to the inside of Martin Truex Jr. to take second place away from him, and immediately Kyle Busch looking to be the favorite as he has quite a bit of speed early on in this race as we come out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, heading into turns 3. Just going to protect that bottom line, get under the yellow line. We're going to be going down towards the apron quite a bit in this race. Now as immediately we come out of turn 4 to come to lap 3, Kyle Busch gets to my inside, and I decide you can have the position. I'm not in a must-win situation, and it's early in this race. We're not going to decide the winner right now. We only need to beat Joey Logano by 4 positions to at least tie him, and 5 positions to lock ourselves in. We can gain some very crucial points as we are very well ahead of Joey Logano as we come to lap 4 in stage 1. Still pretty much the same gap between myself and Kyle Busch in the 18 car. Now as Jimmy Johnson sits behind me in P3 and the number 48. I'm not sure who's P4, but as we started to get going further into this run, I was certainly losing some pace in the car, losing a little bit of grip as well as you saw there in the 48. He was able to get pretty close to me. Now as we come to lap 8 in stage 1, the 48 would go by me on my inside, and I decide, you know, once again, you guys can have the position. I'm not going to battle you, as well as Kevin Harvick. He joins the fight, and pretty much I'm just going to do the same thing that I've done to Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson. I'm just going to let them ease by on the inside as I back out of the throttle early to clear myself behind the 4. I was certainly being a lot more generous than I usually am at this point in the race. Now as we come to lap 11, I got passed by Truex and Elliott as well as we come through turns 3 and 4. Sitting in P6 as we come to turn 4, and Kyle Busch still leads, and Jimmy Johnson goes spinning and takes Harvick with him. And into the wall goes Kevin Harvick, and we have a big crash down the front straightaway. Jimmy Johnson must have blown a right rear tire. He came out of turn 4 and just lost the car moments before we came to the line. And that's going to put me up to P4 now as Harvick, he will start behind me. Joey Logano sits P10 as of right now. We are 2 points above the cut line to make the final 4 as the green flag drops once again behind Chase Elliott. We're going to give him a little bit of a shove now with 4 laps to go in stage 1. Certainly an interesting or dramatic turn of events all of a sudden. Here's Jimmy Johnson looking to be a top 5 car now, might be out of this race. I'm not sure if he DNF'd or not, but certainly a big turn for him as Kevin Harvick sits on my left side. He is completely destroyed. He shouldn't even be in this race, but here he is, and he's probably going to be faster than me, to be honest, even though he should be completely destroyed as we come out of turn 4 to hit 3 laps to go in stage 1, right behind the 4 of Harvick, just kind of maintaining my position. We don't need to try anything stupid now as we have that points gap that we need over Joey Logano to currently make the final 4. So we're just trying to beat Joey Logano. That's the only driver I'm concerned about. Now if a driver does win that's outside of the final 4, say Clint Boyer, Brad Keselowski, or Kurt Busch, then we're going to be in big trouble. We will probably be out of the final 4 no matter what, even if we beat Joey Logano in on points. Now as we cross the line, hit 2 to go in stage 1, and allowing Austin Dillon to my inside as well as Brad Keselowski looking behind me as well as we get ready to come to the white flag this time by as the 3 will clear me on the exit of turn 2 as Keselowski looks to my inside on my left door as we head into turns 3 and 4 as we just barely touch the wall coming through turns 3 and 4. Now as Kyle Busch will continue to lead as we take the white flag in stage 1. Truex just behind him as we fall in line behind the 2 of Keselowski, sitting in P7 as we come through turns 1 and 2. Now going to the middle line, certainly not working the greatest, but there is a little bit of a checkup on the inside. That allows me to get to the outside of Keselowski, and I think immediately we need any point we can get at this point, just in case we have a situation where Logano and myself get very close on points at the end of this race, but I just couldn't make it happen. As we come out of turn 4, Kyle Busch wins stage 1, and we will get P7 in the stage, which awards me 4 points, and Joey Logano gets 1 point, which puts us now 1 point out of the final 4 at the end of stage 1. So all we need is to beat Joey Logano by 1 point in stage 2 to tie things up going into the final stage now as we get ready to start the second stage with Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. on the front row.
Be ready here.
And the green flag is back out, starting right behind the 3 of Austin Dillon in the Dow Chevrolet for RCR. Now as we start alongside the 2 of Keselowski, our teammate Jamie McMurray just behind me as we come into turns 1 and 2. And we certainly have a strong car in this race, much stronger than I've ever had before. Even when the car isn't running very well, we're still in the top 10. So certainly something that gives me a very positive outlook at the rest of this race as we come into turns 3 and 4. Looking to make it 3 wide with Austin Dillon and Chase Elliott, but as we come out of the corner, certainly not able to keep the momentum that I had as we come across on the line. Now looking to the apron briefly, but as we come back onto the track, still side by side now. Keselowski just clearing him a little bit going into turns 1. Our teammate Jamie McMurray still on my back bumper now as we look to the inside of Elliott on the exit of turn 2, but I couldn't get alongside of him. But now as we do go into turn 3, we are able to look to his inside again, cutting that yellow line just a little bit, but certainly the 9 showing a little bit more speed than I was, and I just could not get the run on him. Now as my teammate McMurray looks to my inside with Keselowski on my bumper, so once again we might lose another spot to our teammate this time. But yeah, I decided to battle McMurray a little tougher than I usually do, as he's given me a hard time at times throughout the season, or not throughout the season, but throughout the playoffs when he's not even a playoff driver. So I felt the need to maybe hold him up a little bit myself, as we are having certainly not the best of relationship as teammates as we come to the later stages of this season, as he does try to get by me though through the dogleg right on his back bumper, just about getting into the back of him as we force it to his right hand side through turns 1 and 2, certainly keeping it pinned down right on his right rear as we make contact. And as we come out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, I decided, you know what, you can have the position. So I let off early going into turn 3 and let McMurray take P6 away as we drift back to the 7th position as Kyle Busch continues to lead this race. He's already locked into the next round, so it's fine. But as we come to lap 8 now in stage 2, falling back to P9 behind the 21 and the 14 of Clint Boyer. As of right now, we are in the final 4 still, as we are continuing at this point to get passed by cars, as I got stuck on the outside and couldn't really make it work as Keselowski got by. Kurt Busch makes contact with me going into turns 3. Or turns 1, sorry, now as we have the new configuration. But as we come out of turn 2, falling back to P12, certainly not great as Joey Logano's behind me, and we are currently now still 1 point out of the final 4. And as we go into now turns 3 and 4, right behind the 41 of Kyle Busch on lap 10, or Kurt Busch, sorry, on lap 10, 15, hitting 5 to go at the line in stage 2. Joey Logano closing the gap to me now as he gets right close to my back bumper as we have a big crash in front of us. Keselowski takes our teammate Jamie McMurray into the wall. He must have blown a right front tire or something, and Brad Keselowski is the driver on the outside looking in, already in a must-win situation, so that might take Brad Keselowski out of the picture when it comes to making the final 4. Now as we get ready to go green once again here in stage 2, as the green flag comes out, it's only going to be 2-lap dash to the end of the stage as we come across the line. Kyle Busch continues to lead as he has dominated this first half of this race, as Kevin Harvick sits on his outside as we immediately jump up to the top line, trying to make it 3 wide around these guys, trying to get any stage points we can, as Joey Logano now makes it 3 wide with me and Eric Almirola going down the back straightaway into turns 3. And now going through turns 3 and 4 on the bumper of Eric Almirola, as we did get cleared by him and Joey Logano. We come across the line to take the white flag in stage 2 as Kyle Busch continues to lead with Denny Hamlin now on my inside, and Joey Logano is about to move into a stage points paying position as the 48 of Jimmy Johnson has worked his way back forwards after crashing earlier in this race. As we come out of turn 2 down the back straightaway for the final time in the stage, Joey Logano looking like he's going to get a point out of stage 2 as we get into the back of Casey Kane trying to push the issue, but it's not going to work. Joey Logano will get 1 point in stage 2. We will get 13th, which now means that going into the final stage, we are 2 points below the cut line as Joey Logano currently holds the final spot into the final 4 as we look towards Homestead, Miami, with Kyle Busch winning the stage, as it doesn't matter for him. He's already locked into the final 4 anyway, so he's just trying to brag at this point to everyone. But we would take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires, and we would lose 17 positions, but it wasn't just me. Everyone else did, as 17 cars obviously stayed out. So we will be going to green, and this is going to make things interesting if it stays green for the rest of this run as we cross the line. It is 39 laps to go, and it's a whole half of a race. Obviously, we've completed the first half. Now it's time for the last half here in ISM Raceway. Immediately, I jump to the top line, trying to gain some positions, running the top high line, very high line, the 3rd lane really, trying to make it 3 wide with these guys and getting into the top 30 now behind the 41 of Kurt Busch alongside the 21 of Menard, making contact going into turns 3. Certainly not what we need to be doing, and my eyes are set on the 22 of Joey Logano. We cannot let him get away now as we come across the line, and immediately he's on the inside line. He's starting to put a big gap between myself and him as he's just continuing to drive away using the inside, and I was really struggling to make this outside line work as we're going like 4 wide with Daniel Hemrick back there. Now as we get up to P28, making it 3 wide with the 51 of Harrison Rhodes and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as we come out of turn 4, though, getting ahead of Rhodes now right on the left quarter panel of our teammate Jamie McMurray as we are almost getting hit by the 17 of Stenhouse, and the old leader Kyle Busch has had a terrible restart as he has quickly drifted back to almost where I am now as we sit P27, and we need to quickly find a way to that inside line because Joey Logano has quickly driven away, and we are quickly running out of time to contend to make it into the Final Four as we go alongside our teammate now McMurray on the right side, gaining a few more positions as we're 3 wide, and we have to really back out of the throttle as Matt DiBenedetto and Jimmy Johnson battle side by side through the dogleg as we come in to turns 1 and 2, just still trying to get whatever we can, but I just could not make that outside work like I needed it to as we came out of turn 2 behind our teammate McMurray, trying to clear Ryan Newman as we come into turns 3 and 4, still unable to get to the bottom as Jimmy Johnson continues to move forwards using that inside line as he was very strong earlier in this race, and finally we are clear to get to the bottom, and I immediately hop on that opportunity, and we're going to quickly start moving our way forwards as we still have Joey Logano in my sight, so it's not over quite yet, but obviously at this point we're at least 10 points out right now, looking at trying to run the 22 down, trying to get into this Final Four still there. And as we come through turns 3 and 4, getting very close to that apron, you do not want to touch that or you will spin out for sure as we come out of turn 4 across the line. And as we come to lap 45, we have a car up there smoking with a big crash as we barely avoid Ryan Newman, and a big crash on the outside, and no caution's going to come out. And thankfully we avoid getting any damage from that. I don't know why there's not a caution, but we quickly move up to P13 behind the 41 of Kurt Busch. And as we come to a lap later, now battling alongside the 48 of Jimmy Johnson and 3 wide, we're coming up once again on that smoking car. And as we come into turns 1, a big crash in front of me. Joey Logano involved, the driver who's the last in the cutoff line right now. He is a part of the crash, and we barely avoid it as their AI takes over. And this could be really big now, as I'm not sure if the 22 has damage or not. But if he does, it's going to make things interesting. We would all pit, obviously. We came up P15 still, starting on the inside line. Joey Logano up there in the 3rd row on the outside. I believe his green flag is out once again. We cross the line. It is 29 laps to go in ISM Raceway. Running out of time now as it looks like Logano is up to speed, suffering no damage from that crash now, as we're certainly going to have our work cut out for us if we want to make it into the Final Four at this point. And as we come out of turn 2 alongside DJ Kennington making contact with the 78 of Truex as we go into turn 3 behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, hitting the apron and going way too low, and around we go sideways as we make a big save at least to hang on to the car. No caution comes out, and that might have been it. Our playoff hopes could be over now, but I immediately knew that we have still a strong car. We didn't lose as much time as I thought we would, and I was determined to work our way forwards, and that's exactly what we were planning on doing now, as right here it looks like our championship hopes are over as we are only 6 seconds behind the leader, and we're likely going to get another caution. So in reality, I was certainly very annoyed and concerned at what just happened, as I made a mistake just going way too low. With 27 laps to go, we're probably going to get another caution. Hopefully at least now, as we are going to be very aggressive, getting very sideways on the inside of Danica Patrick, getting ahead of her though, and I was just being so aggressive as we come into turn 2, hitting the wall on the exit of the corner, just trying to get whatever I can, and we were working our way forwards much faster than I was even expecting out of myself as we close in up into the top 25, now passing Michael McDowell in the 34 car to take P24, as we are obviously losing time with front runners, but Joey Logano, he's not a front runner right now, so that's not what my concern is as we dive to the inside, just about hitting that apron again. We do not need to do that again, otherwise we will definitely be out of a chance to make this Final Four as we cut the dog leg, pretty much having to cut the dog leg every lap now, trying to gain as much time as we can as we approach the back bumper of Blaney. Now looking to his inside to make it 3 wide with him and Austin Dillon to get into the top 20. certainly a very good rebound considering what just happened a few moments ago now as we sit just over 7 seconds behind the leader. So certainly not very good for myself, but hopefully we get that another caution that we really need as we cross the line to hit 21 laps to go in this race. Now up into P17, passing the 6th of Trevor Bain, and as we moved on, we worked our way into the top 15, approaching lap 60 now behind our teammate McMurray, getting just about into the top 10 behind our teammate, sitting P11 now as McMurray is the last driver in the top 10. So certainly a huge rebound, which is exactly what we needed. I didn't expect this out of myself. I knew that I could do it, but I still didn't think we had enough time to do it. Now as we pass our teammate McMurray for the top 10 positions, now 8 seconds behind the leader. Certainly not looking up for me. I'm not sure who the leader is, as long as it's not a driver that is in the final or in the round of 8. As long as it's not Clint Boyer, Brad Keselowski, or Kurt Busch, basically. And as we come to lap 68, approaching 10 to go this time by, closing in now in the back of Kevin Harvick, Eric Jones, and I believe Martin Truex Jr. just up ahead of him and closing in towards the end of this race, running out of time now as we have another issue. The 20 of Eric Jones is blowing up just in front of me as he's going to slow up the 4 as we are going to get a caution now with just 10 laps to go as we cross the line here. Joey Logano sitting P6. He is currently, I think, 6 points ahead of me as he holds on to the last final 4 position. And hold on, Clint Boyer is leading this race. He is currently going to win his way in the final 4 as we're all over the back of it, blowing up Eric Jones as we immediately look to the right-hand side. It's going to be a dash to the end of this race. At the moment, it doesn't even matter if we beat Joey Logano in on points. Clint Boyer leads this race and will kick us both out of the playoffs if he gets the victory. And Kurt Busch is just behind Boyer. So if either of them win, me and Logano are both out. But we're going to do everything we can to beat Joey Logano on points, just in case Boyer or Kurt Busch doesn't get to the win, as we immediately get to the inside line, just barely cutting off our teammate Jamie McMurray, sitting P9 right on the back of Joey Logano, trying to gain those 2 points that we need over him just in case something happens to the front runners. Now as we look to the left door of Logano, certainly some visual damage on his left side, but it did not matter. As you can tell, he's still running up to the speed that we are as we come out of turn 2, side by side, making contact with Logano down the back straightaway as we go into turn 3, trying to get ahead of him now in the closing laps of this race, very close to the end as Clint Boyer and Kurt Busch run P1 and P2, which is the exact situation that we do not need as we cross the line to hit 5 laps to go, and diving to the inside of Joey Logano as we battle it out, trying to make it in on points, even though it looks like at this point it might be a lost cause if Clint Boyer hangs on to the victory as we continue to battle side by side with the 22 as Austin Dillon closes in on the party now as we get right down under the yellow line, close to the apron, still side by side with Joey Logano, trying to battle it out now as we cut the dog leg to hit 4 laps to go, and eventually we would be able to get past the 22 as we dive to the inside once again, this time trying to be a little more aggressive, pushing him up the track, trying to gain the position as this battle has lost us both an incredible amount of time as we continue to battle side by side down the back straightaway into turn 3, but this time we are finally able to send it in deep enough to where I slide up in front of him, lose the position to Chase Elliott, but we were able to gain the position over Logano, and now we are tied as it's Austin Dillon between himself and I. But now as we come to 2 laps to go, Austin Dillon got past me, but now it's Jamie McMurray, my teammate, battling alongside with Logano. If Logano beats him, we will tie with Joey Logano, but at this point Clint Boyer has driven away, so we need to hope that something goes wrong for him now as we come down the back straightaway, approaching the final lap in the round of 8 here in Phoenix. Now as we come into turns 3 and 4, the white flag is about to be out, and we have another spinner. It's Ryan Newman getting spun out by Jimmy Johnson up ahead, and we come across the line to take the white flag. No caution as he is way out of the way, and really I was hoping for a caution, but really no need for a caution now as we come into turns 1 and 2, side by side with Austin Dillon. Clint Boyer hanging on to the lead as we come down the back straightaway side by side with the 3 for the final time in this race here in Phoenix, down into turns 3 and 4. Jamie McMurray, my teammate, looking right behind me as we send it in deep. Clint Boyer is going to win in ISM Raceway. As we come into turn 4, we will finish P10 in Phoenix as Clint Boyer wins and locks himself in to the round of 4, kicking both Joey Logano and myself out of the round of 4 as him and Kurt Busch get P1 and P2, as we did indeed tie Joey Logano in points, but unfortunately Clint Boyer won, and we would have won the tiebreaker based off the best finishes in the round, but unfortunately it didn't really matter at the end. Now as Clint Boyer gets the victory, he would have missed the playoffs or the Final Four by 35 points. Kyle Busch would have missed by 20 points, so really it should be myself and Joey Logano and along with Truex and Harvick, but unfortunately it did not work out this time around, as Boyer winning kicks us out by over 30 points now. But unfortunately we just couldn't make it happen, and I'm not really disappointed at this point because it's my rookie season. Like I said at the beginning of this video, we were very fortunate to even be in this position. Certainly a very insane race, one of the craziest races I've ever had in NASCAR heat games. I mean, we had so many crashes from the AI, and just unfortunately we get eliminated from the playoffs, as we have a lot of drivers saying a lot of nice things, so that's nice for a change. But next episode, we will have the season finale for both the Truck Series. We'll see how Hailie Deegan did in her championship fight, as well as the Cup Series finale. And that'll be a special episode because we're going to be doing a 50% race for the Cup Series to decide who wins the championship. As we quickly check the reputation, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, they're all very mad with me, so they're very close to being rivals. And thank you guys for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. And I will see you guys in the next episode as we get ready to see if Hailie Deegan can win the Truck Series championship for our team, and see who out of Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, and Martin Truex Jr. can win the Cup Championship. So thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you guys in the next episode in Homestead, Miami. Have a great day, everyone.